It's been a hard 12 hours since Arsenal got dumped out of Europa League last evening. And everywhere you look on social media, like everywhere, it's Arteta out, right? And I get it. I get the sentiment. But once a referee blows the whistle, right, for the game to start, it's 11v11. And 11v11, our players didn't turn up. They didn't show the hunger. They didn't show the desire. Um, they just sleepwalked. They were very slow. If you can't get motivated for a European semi-final, then Arteta is the least of your problems. Who's holding the players accountable? You can get a super coach like Allegri come taken tomorrow, and he's gonna have the same problems because it's these players, man, and it's not the first time they haven't showed up. So Arteta, like I get it, it's easy to just sack a coach, but these players, man, it's not the first time. Like throughout the season, I've seen this where these players they just don't turn up. I'm sure Arteta is not telling these players to go out and play at a lower gear, right? No coach sends out a team and say, hey, you know what, just hang tight, just relax, and it'll come. No, as a player, you need to get motivated, right? We've started games slowly in the Premier League. We've started games slowly in the FA Cups. Like throughout the season, this team, it's a consistent pattern where they just start games slow. In the biggest game of the season, these players didn't turn up, right? There are a lot of fan channels out there who are always blasting Bellerin. Bellerin this, Bellerin that. Anything happens, it's like Bellerin, right? And where are these same fan channels asking about Auba? Just because you're buddy with them, you don't want to question him, right? I get it. He was injured, and then he had malaria. He's not 100%. But if you're not 100% and you can't score goals, at least be a leader on the pitch. You're not even that. What good are you then as a captain, right? So there's a lot of issues with this club. The players are a big one, right? Arteta, like he did a good job removing the deadwood from the squad, but there's still a lot of deadwood remaining. And I think a proper preseason and one more transfer window is what the owners might give Arteta to see what happens next. If the same pattern continues, then I'm sure Arteta is going to go. And that is one reason why I don't want Arteta to go right now because, as I said, you can bring a super coach like Allegri in tomorrow. And guess what? He is a kind of coach where in 2 weeks he's going to call out these players by name. He's like, yo, this guy, he's shit. He's going to start saying stuff that the fans can see and think. I tore my ACL playing football and I got it repaired. And I didn't play football for 18 months. I was recuperating. And now when I go play pickup, I give my 100%. And if I can't give my 100%, I don't go play because it's unfair on the team. But with this Arsenal squad, it seems they're completely fine just coasting through. Like, look at Thomas Partey, world class midfielder at Atletico Madrid. When Atletico Madrid played Liverpool, I think it was last season or the season before in the Champions League, he bossed that midfield single handedly, right? He came to Arsenal, he looks like an average player. Maybe because he looks around and he sees established first team players who've been here for a couple of years not giving 100%. He's probably thinking in his head like, hey, listen, like why am I gonna give 100% when I look around and everyone's just coasting through, right? It's infectious when you, as a team, when you see players around you not performing 100%, like it it permeates through the club. That's why I've always been a big fan of Martinelli. Like when he came on yesterday, he came on in the 65th minute. For 25 minutes, he showed more hunger and passion than all the players combined for 90 minutes. And that goes to show something. That's why I always say, like, start Martinelli because when he presses from the front, guess what? Everybody's like, you know what? Shit, this guy is like Energizer Bunny. Like, I need to match his energy. Martinelli, for me personally, is like an Alexis Sanchez, minus the hissy fits. And I'm sure if Martinelli's in the squad for another 3, 4 years, he's going to become like Alexis Sanchez. He's going to start throwing hissy fits. He doesn't do that right now because he's young, right? We need to match his energy. Our players are just dead, man. Like they're dead out here. There was no pace. There was no overlapping. There was no crossing. There was no hunger. Like it was just pathetic to watch. An European semifinal, and these guys showed up like it's a Sunday league football game, right? Coming back to Arteta, he needs to realize he's not Guardiola. Like Guardiola can get away by playing Aguero in defense because Guardiola has won everything there is to win. So he gets that extra credit to try whatever he wants to try. Arteta, you just won the FA Cup and Community Shield, my guy. Like, what are you doing? Why are you like first leg of this tie? You played with a false nine. Why? What are you doing? Last night you played 4-1-4-1, whereas the whole season you played with a double pivot. Now you want to play 4-1-4-1? No. Then you want to reinvent Shaka as a left back to create depth? No. You want to create depth? You go to Kroenke and say, you know what? I need money for our left back. Let me buy a left back. That's how you create depth. If Tierney is injured and you don't have anybody else, then you go down through the first team squad to see who is the best suited to play a left back. And guess what? It's Bukayo Saka. You put him as left back. You got Martinelli on the left. You got Pepe on the right. That's how you navigate this. Because Shaka and Partey, they were a double pivot for the majority of the season. Suddenly you don't break it up just because you need a left back, right? And you don't have one. You have one. You have Saka. Saka started off his career as a left back. You play Saka there, right? So some of these brain dead decisions by Arteta, I just don't get. Like Wenger, his main issue was he played just one way, the Arsenal way, right? Like throughout his tenure. That's all he did. He was like, there's only one way Arsenal plays, and it's attacking. That's it. It didn't matter who Arsenal played. It didn't matter it was Bayern Munich, but it didn't matter. It was just the Arsenal way. It was annoying, to say the least, but at least it was fun, right? With Arteta, when he took the reins last season when we won the FA Cup, we beat City, Chelsea, then he beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. It was refreshing to see Arteta tailor his tactics for the opposition, right? And we beat the big teams. But when you start tailoring your tactics to beat the likes of like West Brom, Fulham, Sheffield United, something's wrong. You are the Arsenal. You need to impose your game. You don't need to change your tactics based on weaker opposition. You need to impose your game on weaker opposition, right? So somebody needs to call up Arteta. Like Wenger needs to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Arteta, you know what? What are you doing? Just get the basics right, right? There's an Arsenal DNA in the team that's attacking football. You just do that, and when you come play the big teams, then you be more pragmatic and you tailor your tactics, but not for these small teams." Right? Arteta looked like he overthought these two legs. Why are you playing 4-1-4-1 last night? Every time Villareal broke, it looked like they had two extra men on the pitch at all times. They just bypassed our 5 players in midfield, and it was just Thomas Partey in defense at all times. Like every time they got the ball in midfield, it looked like they had acres of space, right? So some of these things that Arteta does are just brain dead. Substitutions. It's a running team for Arteta where he does substitutions from the 70th minute onwards. So by the time these players actually come on, sometimes it's 75th, 78th minute. It's too late by then. It's too late. A player needs to get up to speed as on the pitch, and by the time it does, it's like final whistle, right? Yesterday when Laka came on, he pulled off Auba. Why? We need a goal. We really need a goal. You keep Laka there, you keep Auba there. You play two strikers. You got Martinelli on the left, Pepe on the right. Guess what? That's 4 threats. Those 4 threats will pin the opposition defenders back, and it's going to create a lot more chances. You pull Auba out, that's the most dumbest shit I've seen. Another dumb shit that I saw was bringing Nketiah on in the 91st minute. You make a substitution in the 90th minute to waste time. Like when I play FIFA with my buddies, if I'm winning and it's a close game, I put in substitutions in extra time just to kill time off. That's common sense. And Nketiah comes on, and in his eagerness, he gives away 2 fouls that eats up 1 minute of the clock. So some of these things that Arteta does, we have to call him out. There's no way. We have to call him out for these shit decisions. So, but as I said, like players, Arteta, then there's the issue of the Kroenkes, right? We were promised that when you moved to Emirates, we were going to compete with the likes of Barcelona, Madrid, and whatnot. We can't even beat the likes of Fulham and West Brom. Forget Barcelona and thing. We are just like in mediocrity now, right? And we've been in mediocrity for a while. We've been just been sliding, and in a way, it's kind of good we didn't go into Europe, because had we gone into the final of the Europa League, Bruno Fernandes and Edison Cavani themselves would have scored 8 goals against Arsenal. That's how much hunger United have right now. Yesterday, I saw the highlights. They had a 4 goal advantage, aggregate advantage, but they still played the game like they needed to win, right? It's another thing they lost, but they still went through. But they had the hunger. We don't have the hunger. Had we gone through the final, Kroenke and Arteta would have been like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's paper over the cracks, and that's what we've been doing for like years now. Wenger's era, as it was declining, he won the FA Cups, and everyone was like, oh man, we're back. Arsenal is back. We were never back, right? It always papers over the cracks. So it's good that we're not in Europe. A, Kroenkes don't get the money, right? It hits them in the pocket. Two, it's a good culture reset. This club needs a reset, right? They need to start again, fresh. We've been in Europe for 25 years. What have we accomplished except for a 2006 final against Barcelona? We haven't accomplished anything. We got whipped by the likes of Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and when we didn't get Barcelona or Bayern Munich, we got dumped out by Olympiacos Monaco, right? We've been in the Europa League. We've been dumped out of 3 semifinals. When we made to the final, we got thrashed by Chelsea. So what have we accomplished by being in Europe? Nothing. So maybe it's good we're not in Europe, right? It's good. I don't mind it, right? What else? Like the people are saying, hey, we're not in Europe. We're not gonna get like recruitment policy. We're not gonna get like good players coming to Arsenal because we're not in Europe. We being in Europe for 25 years, who have we recruited, right? The likes of Granit Xhaka, Mustafi, Socrates, Kolasinac, right? Villian? No. It's we just need to build from scratch, right? My my fellow Gooners in London, keep up the good work with the protests, right? And my fans worldwide, like myself, I buy kits every season. I buy kits. I support the club, right? But this season, even though we have some fire kits, I love their kits, man. It's amazing. But I didn't buy them because I didn't want to put money into Kroenke's pocket. We need to keep the pressure on Kroenke to sell this club and bring in some leaders and ownership that actually cares for the club. That's what we need to do. So keep up these protests, guys. Arteta is the least of the problems right now. We need to hold everybody accountable from the ownership onwards. It's a big mess this club is in, and I hope that this club can get back to its great roots. It's going to be a while, but at least not being in Europe provides us a fresh start. We can do it. I know we can do it. We have the players to do it. We have the stadium. We have the facilities to do it. So let's do it. And yeah, that's my rant. Sorry if it was long, but I just had to get it out. All right.